Okay, welcome everybody to the seventh session of Revolution Live. It's coming up on midnight here in Palestine, but it was very important for me to squeeze this session in before the calendar day ends, so that I can keep the streak going and say that I have a streak of 1 week now. Welcome, everybody who are joining. I see that now that I have made this um, a semi-permanent thing, then people are expecting this and they are joining immediately. So I'm very, very glad. So yes, I am extremely exhausted by the last couple of days. But still, it was very important for me to keep this streak going. We've been going for 1 week, so yay us. And I want to just make it a short one, again, as I'm quite tired. But maybe I will just tell you a little bit about my experiences in the last couple of days. And I have one point that I want to make. I want to tell you this thought that I had today. So I went to Jerusalem last night to meet Elik, and some of you may have watched the live that we did together. He joined the sixth session of this series. And we had a very long session, almost 2 hours, and we discussed many, many things. It was, I think, very interesting, but also quite intense. And then we went to sleep. We didn't have too much time to sleep. We had to wake up early in the morning because we recorded a new episode of the One State Solution podcast together. And in this episode, we wanted to really go deeply into this question that we tried to talk about last night in the live session, but we couldn't because of all the comments and all the sidetracking. So this question about what is a good person? What does that mean? And should we care who's good, who's bad? Is it even interesting? How do good people do bad things, and so forth and so on? These kind of questions. So we didn't feel like we really finished this discussion last night. And we decided to devote an entire episode of the One State Solution podcast to this question. Again, we got sidetracked, as usual. There will not be an episode of any of our podcasts without a lot of parentheses and, detours. But we managed to go quite deeply into this question. And also a lot of other questions that came up in yesterday's session that were still fresh in our minds. And we felt like they deserved more attention, going more deeply into them. So we really talked about many things, and hopefully I will be able to edit this episode this weekend, and it will be up on my channel very, very soon, maybe let's say Friday, Saturday, hopefully. So stay tuned for that new episode of the One State Solution podcast after too long time has passed since the last one. And we're planning to make these episodes more regular again, both of the Yalla podcast and the One State Solution podcast. And then after we recorded this episode, we went to East Jerusalem. It's weird. Why do I have to say East Jerusalem? It's Jerusalem. It's a city. It has, places that are more east, places that are more west. Why do I have to say East Jerusalem? Because East Jerusalem was not officially occupied, um, not officially, annexed by Israel. So East Jerusalem is now a separate place from, normal Jerusalem. But this is just an artifact of the occupation of the. It's an artifact of the colonial project called Israel. Uh, so anyway, we went to East Jerusalem and we met a good friend of ours. Now I feel like I can really call him a good friend of ours. His name is Salah, and maybe some of you know him from one of the episodes of the Yalla podcasts where we interviewed him. Um, I think it's one of the best episodes of the podcast that we did because he is a very interesting and kind and smart and deep person who, if you haven't watched this episode, I think it's episode 9 of the Yalla podcast with Saleh. We discussed mainly the like the psychology of Zionism, and we met him because he is visiting Palestine. He was born in Palestine. He grew up in Palestine until I think he was a young boy when he left to Sweden with his parents, and he now lives in Sweden, and his family still lives in Palestine, in East Jerusalem. And if you watch the episode that we did, there is a moment there where, in real time, Elik and Saleh realize that the place where Elik grew up, the Katamon neighborhood in Jerusalem, is where Saleh's family was expelled from the exact same place in 1948. And now his family lives in East Jerusalem, outside of Israel. Anyway, all the complexities, like, what the fuck? But I need to say so many words to explain what the fuck is even going on with, our normal lives. But what can I do? I'll do my best. Anyway, so Saleh took us to the neighborhood where he grew up, and he showed us the neighborhood, and we got to meet his family. We got to meet his grandparents. So his grandfather used to live when he was, young. He used to live in the Katamon neighborhood, in the house that his father before him built. And then, right when they finished building the house, they were expelled from their house. And Salah told us about this weird moment that he had many years ago. He told us about this moment where he went with, I think it was with his father, to this house, and they met the people who live there now. Who probably, it's not the people who kicked out his grandfather and his great grandfather, okay? It's not the same people. They probably bought it at some point, And they started talking to them, and he says at first they were nice. They were like, yes, come in, come, have a coffee, have a tea, whatever. But then they realized who they were. And Salah told us that in this moment that they realized who they were, their entire attitude changed immediately. And they became hostile. And they were like, yes, you have to leave now. And I think this one moment that Salah says is burnt into his mind from this childhood experience. I think this one moment says so much about the attitude of Zionists and what they need to defend, and what it and the ways that it causes them to behave. I can't tell what to feel about this ceasefire. Happy that no more direct murder. Unhappy that there will be no justice. Gaza is gone, and the future for Palestine seems the worse or the same as before October 7th. I think you do know how to feel about this ceasefire. Yes, it's. I heard about the ceasefire, and this is exactly all the feelings that all the thoughts that I had, all the feelings that I was feeling. Yes, it's a mixture. I was thinking about Muhammad, who we interviewed. Yes, also ceasefire. Yes, all of this. Yes, you are all right on all counts. So I was thinking about Muhammad, who lives in Gaza, in a refugee camp in Gaza, who we talked to again on this on our other podcast, Yalla, on Alex channel, Sound of Anarchy. Go watch our interview with him. And the last I spoke with him, this was a couple of days ago. We were messaging each other, and he said that he is very hopeful that the ceasefire will actually happen. And yes, I'm very happy that Muhammad's life is just a little bit better now, or just a little bit less crappy now. And Muhammad is just one out of over 2 million people whose lives have become marginally less awful because of this ceasefire, at least in the immediate future. So this is good. This is good. But it's not even close to being enough. So I saw a post by Alon Legrin from Standing Together, who some of you may know what I think of. So he said, this is not enough. We need to end this war permanently. And as usual, I agree with what Alon Legrin is saying. Yes, we need to end the genocide, the war, the genocide permanently. We need to stop it completely and forever, like Elix's song. Ceasefire now, ceasefire forever. Ceasefire forever, because forever is now. Always ceasefire. Like, why would you ever fire? Why would you ever use weapons? Why would you ever want to kill? Why would you ever want to risk your life? Why would you ever want to use violence? Why would anyone ever want to use violence in any situation? Why? And why can't we stop all the violence? Why? Ceasefire now, ceasefire in the future, ceasefire forever. So I do agree with Alon Legrin that we should stop all the fighting, all this war permanently. What I don't agree with Alon Legrin, as usual, is about what he's not saying and about the ways that he thinks. So he thinks that the way to end the war, whatever, he thinks that the way to end the war is to arrive at a diplomatic solution between the Jewish people and the Palestinian people. No, bro. This is not the way to end the war. This is not the way. The way to end the war is what Muhammad told us that we should do. and that is to recognize the root cause for this war. And the root cause for this war, this genocide, is the Zionist project. The genocide is a direct and inevitable result of the colonialist, expansionist, imperialist, supremacist, hierarchical, oppressive Zionist project. If there were no Zionist project, there would be no genocide. And if there is a Zionist project, then there is a genocide. This is very simple. But Alon Ligrin does not want to end the Zionist project because Alon Ligrin is a Zionist. Like a lot of, fake leftists here in Israel. A lot of them are still Zionists. And they are not willing to recognize the root cause of all the problems here. And this means that there's and Zionists be Zionists. It's all Zionists are in the end the same. They all have one loyalty, one main loyalty, and this loyalty is to the state of Israel and to the Jewish people. Okay? So, my point is, I don't care specifically about Alon Ligrin. I care about the fundamental mistake that he represents. And my point is that a ceasefire is far from enough. Ending the war is still far from enough. The thing that we need is the total dismantlement and end of the Zionist project, because that is the root cause of all the problems in occupied Palestine. We need to end the Zionist project and instead of it form one equal just state for all its inhabitants between the river and the sea. And even that will be far from enough, because as an anarchist, I am against states. And this is what Elik and I always say, that the moment there is one equal state for all its inhabitants between the river and the sea, we will be against this state. Because we are for the zero-state solution. Zero states anywhere. No states in the world. States are a form of violence. States are a form of oppression. States are a form of separation. So we prefer the zero-state solution. But we prefer one equal just state for all its inhabitants to the fucked up apartheid, genocidal, colonialist shit project that we have here now. Okay? Okay. So about the ceasefire, yes, mixed feelings. Because it is far from enough. Maybe we can now take a breath, maybe. But after we take a breath, we need to carry on. And if we do not carry on, if we rest on the laurels of this ceasefire, then the genocide will continue. It's not, I don't even mean the genocide will continue. The genocide is a continual process that started. You can debate where and when it exactly started, but I think it started, let's say, in the beginning of the 20th century, 100 years ago. Let's say around 100 years ago it started. And it's been going on ever since. The Nakba of 1948 was one key moment in this genocide where they really managed to promote this genocide a lot in a short period of time. And this is when Salah's family was expelled from Salah's grandfather and great-grandfather were expelled from Katamon, for example. And what happened in the last 15 months was another, big stage in this genocide. But this is an ongoing process. This is an ongoing process of the Zionist project trying to delete the Palestinian people, delete them completely, to eradicate completely everything that is Palestinian, everything that is Palestine. And they will never stop. And this is why we have to eradicate completely the Zionist project. Because the Zionist project will never stop until it destroys everything in its path. And this is kind of the point that I want to make, but I will answer a few comments and then I will make a few. I will make this this point that I wanted to make. I said this would be a short one. I don't know if it will. Hi, Alon. How are you? Tired. Yes, a ceasefire, but Ben-Gvir threatens to leave the coalition, which would not be a bad idea unless his threats works on Netanyahu, who, it seems, needs him. Listen, all this, until a few years ago, I was very much into politics. I used to follow these kind of stories very closely. And I must say that more and more in the last few years, I've stopped caring about this, all this, gossipy, reality show, soap opera, kind of, petty politics thing. Because I don't think that this is really what determines anything about what's going on here, Maybe it can determine some things, on a very small time scale, some specific things, maybe. But the fact that Israeli politics looks the way that it looks, the fact that Israel is a fascist state with a fascist dictator and a lot of fascist politicians is a result that just deterministically follows from the fact that it's a racist, colonialist project, supremacist project, okay, oppressive project. It cannot look any other way. Netanyahu is the only possible prime minister for the state of Israel. And if not Netanyahu, then someone exactly like him, okay? And these petty stories about like certain personalities, arguing, it doesn't really matter. I am coming more and more to the conclusion that it's just a distraction from the important things, okay? And the important things when you talk about politics are the systems. We need to understand the systems, and then you understand why the particulars of the systems look the way that they do. But the particulars are not the main thing here, okay? I think the starting point to solve this is to focus on the original ideology itself. This is true, but also we need to remember that ideologies are the results of the systems. There is an interplay here, but the ideology is a thing that the system of supremacy, of power, creates in order to subjugate people to do its bidding. Okay, the ideology, maybe if we want to be pragmatic and deconstruct these systems, then deconstructing the ideology is a very important part of it. But we need to remember that the ideology is an artifact of the system itself, and the goal is to dismantle the system, not the ideology. Okay. Worried how long the ceasefire will actually last? I don't know. I have no idea. But my experience suggests that most ceasefires that Israel signs, they don't last very long, if at all. Israelis are good at promising stuff, but they are not very good at keeping their promises. Or maybe a better phrasing would be that they are very good at not keeping their promises. Okay? The problem is the ideology, not the person in charge. Again, correct, but the deeper problem is the system. Superb commentary. Thank you. Also, your screen name is superb, Mr. Fibonacci. Fibonacci 8. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, and so forth and so on. My concern is the brainwashed society takes a generation to change. Yes, okay, we talked a lot about this in the episode that we recorded this morning, so stay tuned for our thoughts about this in the new episode of One State Solution, which will be uploaded in 2 or 3 days. Okay, so I say I've been going on for almost half an hour now. Let me just tell you this thought that I had. I think it's a significant one. So I told you guys that I've been studying Arabic, and I found myself more and more. Okay, so Arabic is used to be an official language of the state of Israel. This is part of the facade of equality that Zionists want to put up, especially liberal Zionists want to put up, so that they can be confused for a normal country. Which again, I want to emphasize, I'm against normal countries as well, but I'm even more against colonial projects and countries posing, and colonial projects posing as normal countries. So a few years ago, they passed the Chok HaLeom, like it's so weird that I don't even know how to translate it. What is Leom? Basic law, Israel as the nation state of the Jewish people. Chok HaLeom. So this is basic laws are a kind of substitute for a constitution in Israel. They don't want to really form a constitution because that would be very dangerous to their facade. Anyway, they passed this basic law, which states that Israel is the nation state of the Jewish people. And I think a byproduct of this was that Arabic was no longer considered an official language in Israel. But still, in most official signs in Israel, everything is written in Arabic as well. And what's happening is that I'm starting to try to read the things that are written in Arabic now that I know the script, the Arabic script. It always looked like squiggles to me, like very scary squiggles. But now I went on Duolingo, I did a few lessons, it took me a few weeks, and now the squiggles are not as scary anymore, and I can actually read them at a semi-competent level. So I try to read as much as I can. So Elik and I were in Jerusalem, and we were driving around from place to place. And there is a tram in Jerusalem, and the names of the stations are written on the digital screen. They're written in Hebrew, and then it switches to English, and then it switches to Arabic. And it circles back and forth through all these languages. But the names of the stations are all Zionist names. And when we were speaking to Salah, he told us you should get off at Givat HaTachmoshet station. And I read this and I told Elik, how ironic is it that Salah, who's a Palestinian, has to say Givat HaTachmoshet station. So what is Givat HaTachmoshet? Givat HaTachmoshet literally means ammunition hill. And this is a Zionist myth, okay? It's an event that happened. It's a place in Jerusalem where something happened. A battle occurred in the 6-day war. A battle occurred, and it became a Zionist myth of heroism, okay? And there's even a song about this, the song Givat HaTachmoshet. Maybe I'll send you a link to the song, because it's one of those things. I've known this song ever since I was a small child, okay? And hold on, I'm looking up this song on YouTube. Here it is. Okay, wonderful. Sorry for the noise. Here it is. I will send you the song. I like the song musically very much. I really like it. Really, really like it. But the lyrics of this song it's about this battle of Ammunition Hill, and this is just a part of the Zionist myth, of the Zionist narrative. Okay, and hi everybody. People are saying hello, so I'm saying hello back. Finally, I got a live one. So welcome. And when good Jewish Israeli children are in school, they take them to Givat HaTachmoshet to tell them the myth of heroism and to strengthen the Zionist narrative in their minds and to deepen the propaganda and indoctrination. And it was so ironic in my mind to see that Salah has to use this term, Givat HaTachmoshet, the name of the place, Givat HaTachmoshet. And all the names of the stations of the tram are fucking Zionist names. So one direction of the tram, the end station is Chel Avir, the Air Force. The same Air Force whose aircrafts have been flying above Gaza for 15 months now and dropping I don't know how many thousands of tons of bombs and destroying the entire area. Another name of another station is called Hadavidka. Hadavidka is the name of a cannon that was used, I think, in the War of Independence, that is the Nakba, to fight. I don't know exactly, but it's the name of a cannon. And this cannon was made into a statue, and it was put in the middle of Jerusalem, in one of the main squares of Jerusalem. And now it's called Kikar Davidka, the Davidka Square. And this is the name of another station of the tram. And so when we met Salah, I told him how ironic it is that you had to use this name. It turned out that because he didn't grow up in Israel, most of his childhood and teenage years were not spent in Palestine. In Palestine, I said Israel accidentally. Yeah. Slips sometimes. He didn't grow up here in occupied Palestine, so he doesn't even know what Givat HaTachmoshet is. He just knows that it's the name of the station. So we explained to him, and we let him listen to the song. But in any case, so we're driving on the tram, and the names of the stations are written in Arabic. חיל האוויר, the Air Force, is written in Arabic. כיכר דוידקה is written in Arabic. גבעת התחמושת is written in Arabic, just transcribed to Arabic. And it's so horrible. It's so horrible. Because, okay, so reading everything in Arabic made me connect more with like the point of view of a Palestinian living in occupied Palestine. And I don't need technically to connect even more with the point of view of Palestinians. I understand enough to be against the entire Zionist project, to be pro-Palestine, okay? But still, I feel like there's more that I need to go through. There's more to this process. And today I found myself having another stage of this process by reading the Arabic sites and looking at things from the point of view of a Palestinian even more. And what I realized is that this phenomenon is just the most one of the most extreme examples of adding insult to injury that I ever saw. Just the epitome of adding insult to injury. Because what do the Zionists do? Not only do they come and kill and murder and steal and expel and oppress and so forth and so on. Not only do they do that, but afterwards they need to name the places after the very act of theft and murder that they committed. They call the name חיל האוויר, the Air Force. They call the place חיל האוויר, and now a Palestinian living in occupied Palestine, when they want to say, I want to go to this place, they cannot say the Arabic name of this place, which I don't even know. They have to say, I'm going to חיל האוויר. They have to use the names that the occupiers gave the places, which are just constant reminders of their oppression. And then the Zionists don't understand why the Palestinians are so angry. Because not only do you murder and steal from them, not only do you expel and oppress them, but you have to remind them constantly that you are the owners of this land in your mind. You are the owners. You have to add insult to injury. You injure and you injure and you injure, and then you insult and you insult and you insult, and then you humiliate and humiliate and humiliate, and then you injure more, and so forth and so on, ad infinitum. And this is why this fucking project must be dismantled completely. When we went on the tram, and next to us was this, a young man. I don't know, he was probably like 19, 20 years old. And he wanted to go on the tram. And for some reason, this guy with a uniform said to him very aggressively, "Stop, don't go on the tram. I'm tram security, you're staying here. Where are you going? Where are you going?" Very aggressively, very aggressively. And I didn't understand what was going on. And I went on the tram, and to be honest, I was scared and I didn't want to get in trouble myself. But so we have heard him say that he is going to Bet Hanania, which is a Palestinian neighborhood, okay? So he's a Palestinian guy. And this security guy of the tram, he stopped him because he's Palestinian. I have no doubt about it. He didn't do anything. He wasn't causing any harm or any trouble. He just stopped him. It was obvious racial profiling, very aggressive towards him, very aggressive. And at the very least, he made him late to wherever he wanted to go, because at the very least he had to take the next tram. And I don't know what else he did to him. I don't know how he ruined his day or week or month or whatever. But I know that it was arbitrary. I know that it was aggressive. I know that it was supremacist. And it's all the time like this. And after I started looking at everything from the point of view of a Palestinian, I started seeing all the soldiers with the guns. And I put up a story on my Instagram page. So when I was on the train to Jerusalem, I sat somewhere, and next to me came a soldier came on the train, and he sat next to me, like across from me in the block of seats, and he was holding a rifle, and he sat with the rifle, and the rifle was kind of pointed towards me. So I took a picture of this, I put it up on the story, and I got so many replies to this story that said, "Fuck, this is crazy. Is this real?" People ask, "Is this real?" Yes, guys, it's real. It's not just real. It's a normal thing in Israel. It's a normal thing that you sit on the train and across from you or next to you is a fucking soldier with a fucking gun. And I said, I need to trust that this fucking idiot, 20 years old guy is responsible enough so that I don't catch a stray bullet from his gun. Is he responsible enough? I don't know. But Israel is full of soldiers all the time. You step out of your house, within a few minutes you will see a soldier holding a gun. And the gun is now loaded. They're loaded. The guns are loaded. It used to be that you could not have your gun loaded when you were just walking around in the street. It was forbidden. But now, after 7th of October, it's forbidden not to have your gun loaded if you're a soldier and you're walking around with your gun. So the guns are always the magazine is always inside the gun. And I need to pray that this guy remembered to put the safety on. So I'm afraid of catching a stray bullet. But if you look at it from the point of view of a Palestinian, you get a very different picture. If I'm a Palestinian and I'm walking around Jerusalem, I will see a lot of soldiers holding guns. And I know for a fact that these soldiers hate me. And that if I misbehave, they might decide to shoot their guns at me. To shoot at me. They might decide to do it. And if they do it, and if I die, what will happen? They will say this guy was a terrorist. It doesn't matter what actually happened. They will say this guy was a terrorist, he attacked me, I just neutralized the threat. And they will get no punishment. This is usually what happens. Rarely anything else happens if there is an incident. So if I'm a Palestinian and I'm walking around in the street and I see so many soldiers around me holding guns, I know that I must behave. Because if I don't behave, there is a not completely negligible chance that the result of this will be my death. And what if I'm a teenager? And what if I'm at my rebellious stage? Like the vast majority of teenagers, they go through a rebellious stage. And I see all these soldiers, and I know that they look down on me. And I know that they disrespect me completely. And one of them decides to test me. And they will start speaking very disrespectfully towards me. If I'm a teenager on my rebellious stage, maybe I will answer them. And if I answer them, then things might escalate. And if things escalate, I might get arrested. Administrative arrest. When they talk about the hostages, the Israeli hostages being held in Gaza, Zionists always conveniently forget to mention that Israel is holding tens of thousands of Palestinian hostages in administrative arrest, which means that there is no due process, which means that they may not be able to see their families or talk to their families, which means that they might be held for years without any charges, without a trial, without even knowing what the charges against them are. So if I'm a teenager and I talk back to a soldier who's trying to test me by talking disrespectfully to me, I might get arrested. I might find myself in administrative arrest, and my life might be ruined. And this is not a theoretical thing. This is something that happened, is happening, will happen to many Palestinians, this criminalization process. So criminalization in capitalist countries, in all capitalist democracies, is something that happens all the time to poor people, okay? To people who were not fortunate enough to be born to a situation where the number that is assigned to them is high enough so that they can have access to all the necessities of life, like food, shelter, clothes, health services, and so forth and so on. And then they get criminalized, and then their life is ruined. But when you live in an apartheid state, when you live under such occupation, when you're in a place where a genocide is happening, then this is much more dangerous, much more dangerous. It's no picnic when you live in a normal capitalist country. But it's even worse when you live in this place called Israel and you're a Palestinian. Because you are perceived as a threat, as a terrorist, by your very existence. Let me answer some comments. I'm a little bit upset if you didn't notice. I'm a little bit angry about all the thoughts that I had today. But I'm glad that I'm having these thoughts because this is the truth. It's me. I knew all of this intellectually, but today I kind of felt it, and I think it's another important stage in my process of deprogramming from Zionism, which is not, I did not finish it, okay? Just so it's clear. I'm a Palestinian living in exile. I did not realize that there were Israelis who empathize with the Palestinian cause. I think I see a future where we coexist all the love. Thank you. Thank you. And free Palestine. Free Palestine. I want to tell you, I was born in this land, and I believe that the name of this land is Palestine. It was Palestine until the settlers came and decided to rename this place Israel, to start the Zionist project here, and they ruined everything. No, it wasn't a perfect place before, like no place is perfect, but the Zionist project made this a hellhole. And I want to dismantle the Zionist project completely. And please, your screen name HKH. Okay, I don't know what your actual name is, but you may find me on Instagram. I will write my Instagram name, and you're welcome to send me a message, and I would love to connect and talk about anything that you want. Here's my Instagram. Send me a message on Instagram, a private message on Instagram, and we can talk if you want, if you feel comfortable. And yes, I think to me, it's a very it's always an emotional moment when I get such messages from Palestinians, because first of all, it just proves to me that I'm doing the right thing, because I get criticism from all directions. Okay, I get criticism, of course, from Zionists. I sometimes get criticism from Palestinians. I get criticism from all directions, from Carnists. But every time I get a message like this, I feel like, okay, I need to remember that I'm doing the right thing. And yes, if this if what I'm saying made you realize that some Israelis may not be so bad, and that Zionism is an illness and not, an inherent essential property of a certain, race or ethnic group, then good, I think this made the world just a little bit better. Okay, so thank you for this, and love back from occupied Palestine. And I want to tell you as well that if it were not for the fear of appropriating an identity, which I don't know how much of a rational fear, like how much it makes sense to fear this, I would call myself Palestinian. Why? Because this place is called Palestine. I was born here. This makes me Palestinian. At the very least, it makes me from Palestine. Okay, so I hope that this is okay. That I'm saying this about myself. I still follow on YouTube people like Gideon Levy, Norman Finkelstein, Miko Peled, all good people and fearless of any reprisal from anyone. I want to tell you about Gideon Levy. No. When I read the articles that he writes on Haaretz newspaper in Hebrew, I am 100% convinced that he is still a Zionist, and that he is, in reality, he is part of the system. He is the token, the contrarian. Look, we are so progressive. Look, we are such an open society. We even let Gideon Levy speak, uh, even though he is so extreme. But he's not so extreme, and he has a position in the system that serves the system very, very well. I don't know if I'm on the side of Gideon Levy. Okay. Maybe I will go more deeply into this. I'll do some. I will read you an article that he wrote in one of the sessions, so that you understand what kind of political position he has. There's so many layers to peel back. It's crazy once you realize them. Yes. Zionism, like any oppressive ideology, like any cult, like any story that is shoved into our brain, a story of supremacy, all the lies that are shoved into our brain by these sophisticated, manipulative, powerful systems of indoctrination and propaganda and brainwashing. There's many layers to it, and it's an endless path to keep deprogramming yourself and realizing another lie that you've been told, and another thing that is transparent to you, and so forth and so on. We must be always vigilant. We must never think that we finish the process. We must continue and continue and continue and doubt everything, and always examine our basic assumptions. Inglorious Bastards, Palestinian edition coming soon. What goes around comes around. This is a reply to the Israelis must be fully aware by now of the extreme persecution that they have put the Palestinians through. They are well aware of Gaza being an open-air prison with concentration camp conditions. How aware are they? I don't know. Again, system of propaganda, system of indoctrination. They get when most Israelis watch the news, they get an alternate version of reality that arrives to them through a filter, through many filters. I still think it's their responsibility to see reality for what it is, but still we must acknowledge that this system of filtering of reality exists, and it's just not literally true that Israelis really understand what is going on in Gaza. Although it's very confusing because sometimes they tell Zionists are masters of doublespeak. They tell you, yeah, we're not Gaza is not so bad. It's not so bad what's going on there. But then, like a minute later, they say, yeah, and we killed so many people, and it's good, they should all die. Like they speak out of both sides of their mouth all the time, and it's very confusing. Like, hold on, are you aware of what's going on? Are you not aware of what's going on? Like they always say, this didn't happen, and it's good that it happened. This is like the Zionist mindset. So I don't know. It's very confusing. And Inglorious Bastards Palestine edition, very interesting. You know that Tarantino married an Israeli girl, the daughter of a very famous Israeli singer called Tzvika Pik. Her name is, I don't know which one of the two sisters, Daniela Pik or Sharon Pik, he married. One of them, they're the same in my mind anyway. And he now lives in Tel Aviv, and you can spot him sitting in coffee shops in Tel Aviv sometimes. But the Palestinian edition of Inglorious Bastards would be very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, more comments. I will read a few more and then I will wrap it up for tonight, because again, I'm absolutely exhausted. Erev Tov Achi from a fellow Hebrew Canaanite. Erev Tov. Erev Tov מפלסטין הכבושה. So we have another Hebrew Canaanite here. It's rare to meet other Hebrews who are in the same political position as I. Very rare, but some of them exist. So Erev Tov. Erev Tov means good evening. Let's see if there are more. I am Palestinian and I respect you so much, Alon. You are freaking awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. And my love and respect back to you. You're cool. Okay, let's see if there's anything else I want to comment on. I would like to hear more of why you suspect. I don't suspect Gideon Levy. I know about Gideon Levy. I know that he's a Zionist. Maybe in one of the next sessions, I will open up the article from Haaretz and I will read you the article and I will translate the article to you, and you will understand. It's once you try to look at it and see it, it's very easy to see what's going on here. I'm glad you gave your opinion about Gideon Levy. I'm surprised, but not really, since a lot of chameleons in politics, yes. And especially in Zionism, it's very confusing. It's very confusing because liberal Zionists can do a good act, and it's about what they don't say. Okay, it's about what they don't say usually. This comment, I would like to hear more of why you suspect Gideon. I thought it was my own paranoid self. Okay, yeah. Because you always get like a weird feeling and you can't put your finger on it, and then at some point you're like, oh, this is what I was feeling, and then you cannot unsee it. I don't know what he's saying in Hebrew. I will translate for you one article, okay, and you will understand. I'm a legit Palestinian Jew, not just politically speaking. Family is from East Jerusalem and Galilee going back 30 plus what? Oh, 30 plus generations. Fuck. Palestini Asli. But politically speaking as well. So my family goes back to Palestine, I think, at least 8 generations in 2 different directions. So I told that my paternal grandfather, he was born in Zafed, to a family that emigrated from the Shiraz area in Iran to Palestine, and technically he was Palestinian. My grandmother, her family came from Belarus, a city which is in modern day Belarus, to Palestine, and they formed a Moshava, literally settlement, called Mishmar HaYarden, the guard of the Jordan River. And this is an ironic detail of my family history. This settlement was founded by several people, 2 of whom are my great-great-grandfather. I hope I said the correct number of greats. And also Moshe Feiglin's great-grandfather. Moshe Feiglin is one of the most extreme right-wing Zionists in Israel. He was a member of the Knesset, the Israeli parliament, and he is extremely racist. Thank you for providing this wonderful platform to build a community of peace. Thank you for your kind words. And yes, this is indeed one of my visions, that this thing will develop into a community. It's not just of peace, because peace is the result of something. Peace is the result of a revolution that demands total justice, total equality, total freedom. And then after you demand all of these things and actually work towards all of these things, then a natural byproduct of this will be peace. But we cannot just aspire to peace. But yes, I would love it if this becomes a community where people, where we have a conversation about how to bring this about in practice in the real world. Okay, and Yoshua Canaanite, the other Hebrew Canaanite, you're also welcome to message me on Instagram. I would very much like to hear your story. Very, very interesting. All Hebrew Canaanites are welcome to send me messages on Instagram, because we need to form a community here in occupied Palestine. We need to start true resistance here on the ground in occupied Palestine. Okay, so Palestinians who live here, Hebrew Canaanites who live here, whatever you are, if you live in occupied Palestine, and if you want to dismantle the Zionist project, and if you want to free Palestine, please contact me and let's talk about how to do this together. Okay, so I planned on making this a short session, but you know me, I cannot keep anything brief. I've been going on for over an hour. So let's wrap things up. Thank you. Start a political party of all Hebrew Canaanites. Maybe this is we should ponder this idea. But like it would be very weird to start a political party and you know try to get into the Israeli parliament as anti-Zionists. I don't know. Maybe it would be not it would not be the biggest irony of this entire you know fascist regime. Okay, so maybe this is a good idea after all. Oh, you're in the US. I'm in the US and have officially renounced my Israeli citizenship. Okay, good for you, but it's a shame that now you cannot come back and free Palestine with me here. Maybe you can come back. I don't know. Take you up on that offer. Good. Laila Tov, good night. Okay. I need to wrap it up. Laila Tov, good night. And stay revolutionary and free Palestine and free the entire earth and free all living beings. Bye bye. Thank you for being with me. See you tomorrow.